have origins of Mexican and Guatemalan roots. And
That's what I was going to ask you. Exactly what is your Latin background? So a mix.
yes, mix.
Wow, very cool. Very cool. I am of Mexican descent as well, both my parents. So how did you get affiliated with Nifty? Like what's your kind of association with them?
Yeah, it started a long time ago when I was 16 years old. So 2015, 16, around that time, I was a junior in high school, and Nifty partners with high schools across San Francisco, the Bay Area, and I got to be involved in their business program with my economics class. And then in
Oh,
that class, I got to form a business plan. And throughout that time, I was starting my own business. So it kind of worked out where I got to learn business skills and then also me trying to tackle something new at a young age.
yeah,
Uh,
that's awesome. You got to utilize it for what you were doing. Is it the business that I see now online? Was that the same thing that you were working on at that point?
yes, yes, yeah, it's the same business.
Nice, very nice. I mean, I grew up in the fashion business, so so this is a great conversation for me to have with you, knowing that you're in this business, and that's why I wanted to ask you, where did you kind of come up with your idea? What made you want to get into? Is it the fashion component? Is the art component? What's the part of it that you love doing?
Yeah, honestly, the fashion component came after. I just love dressing well, like just figuring out outfits and always wanting to match and look cool and get girls and all that kind of stuff.
That's such a Latin thing. No
Yeah,
matter who you are, I feel like,
yeah, yeah. I
you
mean, that was
know?
just the thing growing up. But then like I started thinking about like the storytelling aspect when I was, forming the business. I'm like, I don't want to be like any other brand. I want to stand out. I want to have everything with purpose, with a meaning behind it. So, I just like thought about my family. Like my family are immigrants, that came here with nothing. And I thought about their struggle. And I thought, what a unique way to form a business surrounding the name struggle. So actually the brand is called Lotta, I mean struggle in Italian. And our whole thing is to represent struggle, to represent a culture that, anything is possible. And from there, I started forming pieces that can inspire people, that can unify people together, to build conversations and to just be different. I think fashion is a way to be who you are, but then also make friendships over just, like, oh, that's a cool hat. Like where did you I used to drive that kind of car, or just stuff like that. So over time I built that with purpose, but then I like looking good too. So it's those two.
Nice. I love it. So I guess that makes sense because as I looked on the website and looked at the product that you have, I can see the mix of your background actually now. When I'm looking at some of the product, I wasn't sure exactly what what the storyline was there, but that makes sense looking at the shirts that you have. I think you have the graphic tees and then you have the ones that have the like the vertical textile patterns, like sweatshirt almost sort of looking. I love
Mhm.
those. Those are really cool.
Thank you. Yeah, I mean, I think fashion evolves over time, right? And as you
Absolutely.
and cycles as well. But I enjoy it. I love it, and it's a thing that I love to do, and I continue to do it. So
So, do you strictly do everything on your website, or do you have anything in stores, or like where are you, and where do you see this going?
yeah, I had my products before the pandemic at a couple boutiques in San Francisco, very niche markets, like where I believe that my product would do well in. But then over time, during the pandemic, kind of everything changed and I had to go all online. My business model is I do a lot of pop-up shops around the Bay Area, but mostly it's online. My focus is mostly online, yes.
Okay. Are you doing anything that will help kind of reach more eyeballs out there on social media or anything like that?
I do a lot of influencer marketing. So like I have like partners that I've done business with, and I believe that they have a good influence in the people that I could sell with, and I pay them a certain percentage. And on Instagram, they promote our products or they promote events that we're hosting. I think that's like the most efficient way because like running ads on Instagram or Facebook, it kind of is a hit or miss. So
Very random. Yeah, it's very random. I agree. I agree. Especially for something you're doing. I think it probably comes across a lot better with like an authentic influencer who's wearing the product, right? I feel like it probably makes a little more sense for what you're doing.
yeah, exactly.
So did you have any education in apparel, or was it mostly business based? Like, how did the two kind of mesh together?
Um, I mean, I think it was just me being ambitious and just like researching all the time. And I didn't get a formal education in fashion. Like I didn't go to FITM or anything like a good school or whatnot, but I did get education in business. I worked at different tech companies and just like learn business components and trying to apply it to fashion.
Yeah.
Very, very difficult, but I believe just business, if you know at least the business fundamentals, you could apply it to any business. So
Yeah,
uh,
both components are big, and especially if you're starting your own brand, the business component is huge, right? So, I mean, it's everything at the end of the day. So, no matter how creative you are and how beautiful you can put product out, you have to have a business plan. You have to figure out how you're going to, make your sales, all of that kind of stuff. So,
I would say though that the best education that I've had so far is just me diving in head first, right? Like I think that was just the best way for me to learn is experience it. A lot of people are just like book smart, but I would say like street smarts is everything. Like
yeah,
actually going out there, getting your hands dirty. That's like what I've done to like learn the most in fashion, in business in general, actually.
you got to be in it. Did
100%.
your family, support what you were doing, or have they influenced you in any way, in terms of like going into this like fashion business?
My dad actually ran a galleria in Fishman's Wharf in the mid 2000s. So he was a business owner. As a kid, me and my brother and sister went to go help him out, sell cameras, sell chandeliers, and just getting that firsthand experience of just like understanding how to be a salesperson, how to greet customers, how to not how to have a conversation with customers and intrigue them to buy a product. So my dad gave me a lot of business advice, accounting, doing your own books, that kind of stuff. And then my mom, well, she was always the person, well, like never give up. She always instilled that motivation in my head, like, oh, you don't let nobody tell you that you can't do it. Like she always told me that, and she continues to do it. So I'm very grateful to have two parents that are very like business savvy, and then also a strong mentality. There's people that are out there not not to help you out and just try to figure out in your own way.
No, you're lucky you have family who is very influential in just keeping you going. That's great. I mean, that's a big deal. So that's awesome to hear. What do you think is the biggest challenge that you had when you were creating your brand, your business? Like, what's the one thing that you would say, like, oh my God, this was the hardest thing for me to overcome?
I would say there was a point where I got frustrated with myself that I had this momentum of like building collections and we're selling out. And then there was like this point where like I didn't know what to make next. I didn't know, like I got into this situation where I got inconsistent, and there was just this point where like I have to get the ball rolling again. Sometimes you get sidetracked with when business is going good, you focus on other things and not mainly on the business. One specific thing is like you can't be like a chef is focused on one dish, but like they have other workers working on the dish, right? So I was just like focused on the finance part and I was just very overwhelmed, if that makes sense.
Do you have anybody else who works with you in the business?
Yeah, now I do. Yeah. So like learning from my mistakes. Yeah, I have um uh, about two employees that help me out.
Oh, that's great. That's awesome. Yeah, it's a lot on your own, right? To be the creative, the marketing, the web development, all of that. It's a lot. I mean, yeah, you definitely need some hands to help you with all of that, I think. Do you have any advice for anybody going into the business in terms of like, finances or startup or capital or anything like that? I mean, you're really young, so, how did that kind of affect you in terms of getting things started?
Well, I'm 24 now, but when I started, I was 16 years old. And, obviously at that point in my life, I had a different mindset. But now, like with all the business and, failures that I had, I would say to stick with what you know, and what you don't know, ask for help. There's times where when you feel overwhelmed, like ask for help. It's okay. Like you're not gonna get it. Like there's gonna be people that are wanting to help you, and you just have to reach out and be vulnerable when times are hard, right? Another thing is um there's going to be difficult times, but difficult times are going to pass. Like for instance, like I was telling you, I was overwhelmed. Um, I think that kind of ties in with just like reaching out, having a mentor is very helpful. I use different mentors for different things, for business, for personal. So it's just having that balance. And then also, um, I would say for business, investing into your business or investing into the product and not just spending it on like marketing, or actually no, investing your the profits you make into your business would be very helpful instead of like using it on your salary. Sometimes when you're building a business, especially when you have no investors, like you got to use every capital you have to keep building your business, because without capital, like you're not going to survive, right?
Right.
um so I would say those advice I would stick with. Yeah.
I like that. Reinvest in your business. That's one. And then to your point, I think it's so great that you've learned that other one very young about being, I love you said it that way, being vulnerable. And if there's something you don't know,
Ask
ask
for help.
other people, ask for help, because that's one thing I think, I'm so much older than you. And I think I wasn't comfortable with that until I was in my 40s. You feel sometimes like, oh, well, I don't know it. Do like do I feel threatened by that because I don't know it? And the truth is, no, you can't be good at everything, right? There are other people who are out there who are good at that. So let them help you, let them do it. I think that's a tough one. You learned it young.
Yeah, I would say another thing that I just thought of that helps me to this day is write things down, because there's times where you forget things, or you hear an advice, or you hear some idea. I think journaling is very important. I do that every week. Just how I journal is I capture a picture of like what I want to remember, and then I write a blurb, and then when I go back to my notes, like, oh yes, this is what I wanted to do. This is what inspired me for my next collection. And then from there I build I build a mood board and that kind of stuff. So journaling is probably one of the best things I've started doing.
That's awesome. I love that. Yeah, just keep all your inspiration there so that you don't forget, and you have all that momentum to keep you going to the next collection that you're going to release.
Yes.
So what are you thinking for your next group of stuff? What do you have in mind?
Actually, I'm hosting a pop-up in April 27th. It's happening in San Francisco. So we have a collection that we're working on. Actually, this is one of the collections the hats I'm wearing. It's called
Nice.
Welcome to Frisco. So we have different garments that we have working on, and we have vendors that are going to be vending there. We're going to have DJs, and we're going to have like a runway show. So
Oh my gosh, it's going to be amazing. Am I going to be able to see it on social media or something?
oh yeah, we're gonna hire a photographer, videographer, yes. So
That's
yeah,
awesome. So exciting.
I mean I'm only focused on streetwear. Like that's what my main thing is. Like, I love streetwear. But what I've noticed from streetwear is that a lot of workwear, like Carhartt is a very popular brand.
Yeah.
A lot of construction workers use that to, for their day labor, right? But now that's like being implemented in fashion designs, and like people are making cargo pants,
I
and
have
like
some on today, actually. I have some cargo
yeah,
pants on. That's
yeah,
so funny.
yeah, like workwear is just like very like it's like a comfortable fit, and also you can make it stylish where it doesn't look very like people want to look like they're working in a blue collar job, but they're really not, and make it a little more high fashion. And I think
Yeah.
that's where I'm seeing like trends going. Um, I do see that like fast fashion is definitely impacting a lot of businesses, right? Like everybody wants to support the small business, but they end up putting their dollars towards, that
Yes.
$10 sweatshirt so they
Yes.
could wear it to the gym. Like, so that's where like I like differentiates my brand. Like I want to make quality products that have a positive meaning. And there's a selected few that want to wear that merchandise, but those are my customers,
That's your
like.
customer. Yeah, you'll find that customer, and that's the important thing, so the education about why, it's a great garment, it fits well, it's stylish, it has a story behind it, it's supporting your, upcoming business. It's like these are all the things you want, your customers to be aware of. So that whole education piece of it is important.
So I want people to follow us on Instagram. Our Instagram is Lotta, Lotta, worldwide, and our website is lottaworldwide.com. And
Awesome.
you can find us there.
All right, cool. I'm gonna be there. I'm gonna look.
Yes. Okay. I appreciate it, Tina.
Yeah, thank you.